All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film Network. Welcome back to another episode of Planet Film Live. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm one of your other hosts, TJ Cornwell, and thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to be talking a lot of things. Obviously, we have an Indiana Jones ranking and kind of overall review of the entire four movies leading up to Dial of Destiny, which comes out this week. We have the casting for Superman and Lois. And then got some box office news. I think we might do a trailer reaction. I don't know if we're doing that or not for the Five Nights at Freddy's trailer that came out
Very
today.
possible.
But as always, we're going to start with what we've been watching. Sean, I don't know if you want to start, you want me to start, whatever you want to do.
I will. 1 second. Letterbox app is. There we go. I can start if you like.
All right.
Okay, so first thing. 1 second. Turn up the volume a minute on both. Let us know in chat if you ever have any volume issues. We should when I restart up the merch store, to let us know if you guys want us to bring back the merch store. We gotta make like a can you turn the volume up shirt? Yeah, I can't. That's what it'll say. I can't hear you. Oh, what's that shirt? Oh, it's this podcast that I listen to.
Right.
All right, let me know, I guess, if that is better. Okay. So really the only thing that I watched movie-wise, but I do have another thing that I want to touch on for sure, is Asteroid City. So I went and saw Asteroid City yesterday, yeah. And I put out a mini review already, so I'll just keep it quick here. I really enjoyed it. I can't remember if you saw or where you fell on French Dispatch, which obviously was his last one that came out with the HBO Max thing, the day and date. That one really did not hit for me. There was elements that I liked. It was a very anthology movie, for sure. So some of the anthology worked for me. Like some things just straight up did not. And overall, I really didn't care for it that much. Grand Budapest, I know it's not really a. Well, nowadays, I was going to say Grand Budapest is definitely my favorite. I was going to say that's probably a very common opinion. But then I remember, he's got Royal Tannenbaums and all the earlier stuff, too, which I enjoy. But this, for me, was probably somewhere between, like, a Darjeeling Limited and Grand Budapest. Like, it was definitely on the positive side of Wes Anderson filmography for me. I liked the story. I liked the characters and everything. I don't agree with these are all just hollow, stylistic representations of characters. They're not actual characters with emotion. I actually was surprised with how much there was in this. It's definitely not as much of a plot-driven movie like Grand Budapest Hotel is. It's definitely a lot looser, a lot more just like, we're just kind of watching these people and watching things happen. But I liked that. I thought it lent itself to the kind of casual, like, throwback, kind of like 50s, like, just kind of vibe that the movie was. And I thought that the set design and everything, I thought, even though it's Wes Anderson we're talking about, I thought even more stepped up than usual. But yeah, I really, really liked that. And then I guess I'll save the next thing I want to talk about. We'll have you go with what you've been watching. Oh, and then obviously Indiana Jones. I've been watching as well.
For me, I haven't been watching much, honestly. Just literally Indiana Jones. I told you I didn't watch. The only one I didn't watch leading up to this is The Last Crusade, just because I watched it a few months ago, so I felt like I still had a good memory of what happened and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And the only other movie I watched since last week was No Hard Feelings, the new Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Oh, yeah. How did you feel about that?
I really liked it. It was a really good time, good comedy. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was really good in it, so I'm glad she, really wanted to do this movie from everything I've seen, at least.
Yeah.
She was really looking forward to doing this movie. I think maybe where it kind of falls apart is towards the ending, maybe the kind of resolution to everything. I just felt like I felt like it was really like pushed as this is the return of the raunchy, comedy. I just felt like
For sure.
that of it kind of fell off towards the second half. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like the first half was pretty strong, and then towards like the end of the movie, it kind of fell off in that point. There were some really good jokes too that I laughed a lot at. Some of the little hits didn't really hit for me, but when we got like a big comedic part, those hit for me.
That worked for you.
Yeah, this movie has Matthew Broderick as well,
And his
playing
wig,
the
right?
dad, and his terrible wig. It was something to behold when he appeared on screen wearing that. I felt very bad for him. But he was great, obviously, as he was the dad. But yeah, overall, I'd say I enjoyed it. Am I gonna go back, 3 months from now and watch it again? Probably not, but that was a good return and a good movie. And I think that's it, unless I'm missing any TV.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you
There we go. Sorry about that. I was trying to get something pulled up in the background. I don't even know if you guys could hear that, but I think TJ could. That's great. I wanted to see that really bad. I was gonna try and maybe see it after work one day, but then I just kept hearing
I'd say
this.
one other thing. It probably just it feels a little long. You kind of get
Yeah,
to
it's
a point where
1:45.
yeah, and it's really it's not that long, but there was a moment where I was like, man, is it almost done?
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the only reason I didn't watch it after work one night was because of the length. Couldn't make it
Right.
work. But I really we heard it. Oh, well, there you go. Well, I really wanted to see this, but then I kept just hearing the same not even really criticism, just the same things about it over and over, which is that I've heard like basically she's great. The kid doesn't really have like that like McLovin like X factor that people were saying like you kind of need for a movie like this.
Right.
And that the end fell off or whatever. So what you're saying is very consistent, but also
I like the kid personally, but
yeah, and hearing that from you, it does make me more excited because obviously, like, I trust your opinion more than Twitter. But I might have to check it out now. I don't know. I mean, not like I'm not going to be able to. I mean, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. Danielle says, I don't think it felt long at all. Bring back comedies. Yeah, I mean, like, you look back a couple of years and it's like this. We do have Joyride coming out in the next couple of weeks, which, is all and out or out and out like a full comedy with Stephanie Hsu coming up. So that'll be interesting. But then before that, it's like it's almost like a progression of like Game Night, Tag. What was the one before that? Like We're the Millers. And then like Blockers is one that I always think of too. Like, but each one of those movies are like 3 years apart from each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we only and then also, to be totally fair to her, some of Melissa McCarthy's constant output of comedies, some of them are funny, some moments in them are funny as well. I don't want to discount, the stuff that she has been doing, even though most of it is dumb, but like for every Life of the Party, you get a what was that decent one that she did? Can't even remember the name of it. Spy. That was the one that I was thinking of. Spy with her and Statham. Like that was really funny. But yeah, I mean, it's like I just feel like even when we were kids, even when we were kids, like you look back at some of the movies that we would watch, and like 2004, 2005, it was like you'd be getting these hit comedies. There was a Hangover trilogy that made $1 billion as a comedy trilogy. And sure, by Hangover 3, it was like an action movie. But like, it's still, it was there. And I just don't know if people are looking for that or responding to it. But then you look at something like Tag or Game Night, and like everybody loves those movies. So I think the want is there. But yeah, and Danielle said also, Andrew Barth Feldman was so good. My Evan Hansen. Did he play Evan Hansen?
Yeah, he played. I believe she said he. I forget where she said he played. Played him.
Because something I didn't know until like 2 days ago was that. Now I don't really know because I don't know. I didn't know who Andrew Barth Feldman was other than the trailers for this movie. But I saw that he played Remy in that Ratatouille musical that they did on
that
TikTok.
Was the other thing that Danielle
yeah,
said
that I did recognize. I saw a video of that, and I was like, "That was him." Oh, that's pretty cool. Michelle says, "Okay, can we go see No Hard Feelings now?" Yeah, I mean, like I said, if we have the time and things are going to start slowing down after Indiana Jones comes out, really just for 2 weeks, but yeah, I think I'm going to check it out for sure. Happy to hear a lot of that. All right. TJ, I got to talk to you about this.
All right.
Have you watched The Bear?
No, I haven't. Danielle's watched season 1. She is going to be watching season 2, but I have not watched any of that show.
Well, I will tell you this. Either if you're going to watch it with her or if you're going to watch it separately, the first season especially, every episode is like 22 to 26 minutes, and there's only 8 episodes. So the first season you can bang out literally in like an afternoon. Second season, I will give you, it's a little longer. There's one supersized episode that's an hour, and all the other ones are like 30 to 35 minutes instead of, so a little bit longer. Hang on, really quick. Little Andrew Barth Feldman lore. He was him on Broadway post Platt. Everyone wanted him in the film since he looks like a teenager. He was also teenager. Oh my God, Danielle, is this the person that you were telling me? What you were like? Oh, this person's in season 2 of High School Musical, the series, and I didn't like recognize the name. Maybe I've just been ignoring this guy for years, and he's been right under my nose. I don't know. But yes, The Bear. Absolutely fantastic. You should definitely take the time to watch it. Get caught up. I'm going to go not into spoilers here for season 2, but I am going to spoil just one of the cameos, I will say. And it's not even really a cameo. This person I would consider now as, a character on the show, but still, a bigger name and everything like that. But believe me, I'm going to say this one name, and there are tons more. I mean, people have been talking about it like crazy, how many cameos and appearances are in this. And that is season 2 for me, just quickly, has just done the classic, what you always want, takes everything about the first season, about the first installment, and just amplifies it and elevates it to an incredible level. I mean, look at how many Emmy nominations and Golden Globe nominations the first season had. The second season is going to get all those and more, because some of the it feels wrong to even use the word cameo. Like, I feel like I should just say like guest appearances, which is what it's called, so I probably should say that. But like, some of the guest appearances are going to get nominated for Emmys. Like, not even Golden Globe. I think the one that I'm going to talk about deserves to win for guest appearance in a drama series, and that is, drumroll please, Jamie Lee Curtis, which I don't know if it's been, if anyone's in the chat has even been able to avoid that, because I know I got that, and then some of the appearances were announced beforehand, so you can find those out there on the internet openly. But Jamie Lee Curtis in season 2 of The Bear gives the most moving and emotional and incredible performance I think she's ever given in her entire career. Like, she was hitting levels of emotion, of big, broad emotion, and then really tiny, subtle changes, almost to the point where when you're first introduced to her character, she almost is like a caricature, almost, or like a heightened version of like what you think the archetype of this character would be. Which I won't even say what character it is, but she's almost introduced like a heightened version of it. And then throughout her initial episode that she's in, it kind of has like a mellowing and a getting to know the person more, but then also just some insane shit as well. But then by the end of the season, she just gives not even in that very episode. By the end of it, she just, and obviously it's the writing as well, being so good and caring about these characters and everything. But she just does one of these acting jobs of conveying so much emotion to the point where I literally cried at her performance, like on the show. I was like, really, and her and this character, which again, I won't even go into specifics, but it's like the significant other of one of the main characters. So it's like this D-list character has this scene with her that you're just like not expecting to get emotion from this guy, because it's like that's that guy's, or that's that person's husband. What the? Why am I getting emotional at this scene, like for this like 19th on the call list? But it really, really works, and him and Jamie Lee Curtis, their scene together is just incredibly emotional and just really, really good. And The Bear season 2 overall has just been absolutely fantastic. I put out my thoughts on the first half of the season already, so you can go check that out on the channel. But absolutely incredible. Maybe when a little bit more time has passed, I'm going to post my second part of that video, so that I can kind of talk openly spoilers. I mean, it's really, I don't know how much you can spoil this show. I mean, a lot does happen, but, you know, I don't know how much people care about spoilers for this kind of show. But yeah, really, really fantastic season again. And recommend it to anybody who has not seen The Bear yet on FX.
I feel like that also, just real quick, that was a pretty quick turnaround as well. I feel like they just announced that there was
it was exactly 1 year. It was it was June 20th the first season came out, and then June 22nd this season came out. Pretty interesting though. The first season aired week to week. This one they dumped it all at once. And I was kind of trying to think of both throughout it, and then now that I've seen the whole thing, how I kind of felt about that. And I feel like the writing, like the actual story, probably would have, and just the like episodic nature of like every episode you have this arc and then this big payoff of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next, which I thought was there and was very good. But I think the way that they edited it, with some of the music bleeding from episode to episode, and there's some title cards that come up in relation to this thing that is happening in the show. So I think that in the editing, I think I settled on, I was happy with it being all at once. You know, almost like a Stranger Things. It's like they dumped it all at once, but even if it was just the editing, I think they thought about it, and it really played well as all, you know, just one big story, essentially. All right. Let's see here. I do have a question for you, which is, I saw on Twitter that apparently the studio behind God of War has come out, and they said that, don't worry, everybody.
Who's the studio? Oh, as in like the game.
The game studio, yeah.
Like Santa Monica.
Yeah. So they came out, or it might have even been a creative director on the games, and basically said, don't worry, The Rock will not be Kratos if God of War gets adapted. And so that got me thinking. I was like, would you want to see The Rock? Because obviously you're way more well-versed than that. I haven't played any of the games. I know a little bit of like the lore and like who Kratos is and stuff. Right. But would The Rock be somebody that you'd want to play that? Or would maybe somebody more like Dave Bautista fit that role better? Or, you know, do you think either of them have it in them of what that character kind of needs?
And it looks like you are referring to Corey Barlog, who said that, who's basically like he's
like the overseer.
He's basically been the director of God of War since the first one. So he is basically, you know,
he speaks with authority.
Basically, yes. And I believe he's one of the heads of the studio. Yeah, I saw this the other day too. I think so. Or maybe it was the same thing. I At first I was all for The Rock, but the Dave Bautista thing makes much more sense. Um, and I think probably to play this character as well, assuming they're going to go off of or kind of resemble the character in a movie or a show based off the 2018 and 2020. Did Ragnarok come out this year? I think it did.
Yeah.
2023 games. Um, I think you want to go with somebody that can probably convey emotion better, and for me, that would probably be Dave Bautista. If we're all being honest, if we were to choose who the better actor was, I think we all agreed that it was probably Dave Bautista.
Mhm.
And I know Dave Bautista also wants to do a Gears of War movie as well. I believe he said.
Yeah, that's the one that he's been talking about for like a long while. I feel like.
Yeah, so I would be really happy if it was him. Because I remember when The Rock, it was like a year or two ago, when he said that he was like doing this, like he's like, oh, I'm working on this thing that
Yeah, I
love
remember
in
that.
games or whatever, and everybody's like, oh, is it? I think some people thought it was Fortnite. I thought it was God of War personally.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously nothing has really come out about that. But yeah, I would probably lean towards Dave Bautista for being honest here.
I agree with you. Having not seen the character, well, that's not true. I have, like I said, I'm familiar with a little bit of the lore because for half a second I was in a Target and I was like, "Am I gonna buy Ragnarok?"
Mm-hmm.
And I like watched. I think it was like Emergency Awesome did like a lore video, and I got as far as the Ashes thing, and I was like, that is some heavy shit.
I mean, I've only played like the third one and then 2018 and this most recent one. So
well, because correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
I'm sure there have been some remakes and some remasters or whatever, but like it's not like a game that you can like get all of them PS5 ready like right now. Right?
No, there's like PSP ones.
Yeah, like there's some that you can't like go back for. So I feel like it's hard like to really. It's not like another one that's hard that I. Thankfully, it's the only thing I can claim in video games is like I have played not all the way through, not 100%, but I have played every Ratchet and Clank game. But like if I were to set out to do that now, like I mean I do have a PS2, so maybe I could do it.
Right.
But like if I didn't have a PS2 or anything like that,
PSP one.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't get that now. Like I could maybe like some like port for the computer or something like that.
Right.
But it's hard. So I think that's fine. And also I think, obviously they've been successful the whole time. Otherwise there wouldn't be so many. But like, I do feel like not like a bandwagon situation, but I feel like God of War as an entity has just like exploded in the past. Since probably the last game, what was that, like 2018?
2018, I believe it was.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, 2018 was really the one that I think it had taken a break for a few years. And 2018 really kind of reinvigorated the character. And where it's not just like a hack and slash, we have Kratos and he has a kid, Atreus, and we're teaching him stuff and all this, it's a whole thing. And
Chris Hemsworth shows up, right?
Chris Hemsworth does show up, yes, in the second one.
Oh, no Extraction for you?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I just haven't watched it.
Did you watch the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean I haven't watched the second one yet either.
Remember it? No, not at all.
Yeah, I remember there was a kid.
He
had to extract.
I don't. Okay,
yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah, there was a little girl. What a surprise! A male lead and a small girl that he has to protect.
Yeah.
What are the chances? Yeah. But yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, if you guys know, if you want to weigh in one way or another, I know Michelle in chat definitely said The Rock is an awful actor. Best wrestler. I want to get your thoughts. I want to check back in with you post Peacemaker on this. Are you still firmly Dave Bautista is the best actor out of the three of them? Obviously, talking about Bautista, Rock, and Cena.
Yes, because I think he can. I think John Cena. I would say John Cena is probably the best comedic actor, but I would say overall actor would be Dave Bautista.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like
Dave Bautista's also had more of a chance to show his,
Yeah, that's true.
More of a drama kind of.
Yeah.
And John Cena really has only done
Peacemaker, like
comedies.
and some of
The
Suicide Squad.
blockers, or
Yeah. Like I would say, yeah, Michelle and Chad says Cena comes second. I think Cena
I don't count
absolutely
Fast
comes
and
second.
Furious.
Um,
I don't count Jacob in Fast
Yeah.
9.
not coming out of this one, brother.
But that's also what he's better at. He's just better at being, comedic.
Yeah,
So-
but I also think he was great with the drama in Peacemaker, with the stuff with his brother and all that stuff. So I think just as of right now, with what they've been able to prove themselves with, just because of the opportunities that have been given, I think I agree 100%. I think Batista is the better dramatic actor. I think that, as we've seen just this year with Knock at the Cabin, he can hold his own as the lead of a drama, where I think John Cena probably could do that in the safe hands of the right director, but he just hasn't been given an opportunity. We'll see how Cena is in Barbie, and maybe we'll revisit this question.
God, I didn't realize he was in that.
Yeah, of course he is. All right, so just a couple quick news things that I was just looking at, because I still don't have Twitter, so I'm just kind of catching up. There you go. That's a beautiful picture. Let me just pull it up. There you go. So The Bear, season 2, as I was just talking about it, it is apparently the highest season launch for Hulu, or for FX on Hulu. Right? It has already become FX's most. Oh yeah. So the FX on Hulu thing. Yeah. I was trying to think if it was saying the highest FX or the highest Hulu.
Yeah.
But it's the highest FX. So it is the highest FX premiere ever on Hulu. Viewership is up 70% from the first season, which is insane and insanely deserved for sure. Thoughts on that?
No, but speaking of a show,
Hit it.
did you? I don't know if maybe it wasn't a real story. Oh no, it was.
Okay.
Did you see this report that Wednesday? Now I haven't watched Wednesday, but Wednesday has become the most popular English language series of all time on Netflix. Do you believe that?
100% I believe it.
I don't. I have no. There's no way.
That's
that
why
is
you
true.
should be watching
no way.
Streaming Charts with Dan every week on Dan Murrell's YouTube channel. Dude, this show has been on the rise to be Netflix's most watched series
It's had one season
since it came out.
How is that?
That's why it's so...
possible?
No, but I'll tell you this. That's why it's so insane, too, is because... And also, that does have to do with the numbers, because...
Right.
Okay, what is the raw data of the most watched...
You're not gonna know.
Time?
You won't know because
Well,
they
you
won't
know...
tell you.
You don't know specifics about viewership that would relate to like residuals, but they do put out the minutes that things are watched, and you can go watch Dan Murrell's most recent Streaming Charts. He goes into the whole thing. They're actually adopting an easier way to track their metrics, which is hours watched divided by total runtime. So, like you said, it's only one season. That's actually a big reason why Wednesday is the #1 title, is because if you want to go pure watches, it's NCIS. Surprise, surprise. NCIS has like 500 episodes.
Get rid of give me original, not
Well,
something Netflix bought. The rights to.
Absolutely. Then it is
Sure.
Wednesday. Then it is Wednesday, free and clear.
is
It is
crazy.
Wednesday. Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, because it was on the
I
rise
immediately-
to. Yeah.
When I saw that, I immediately thought, "There's no way it beats Stranger Things." Because I was like, because that's that show when it first came out. I mean, everybody it was all over the place. And still even now, I was hyped for season 4. You were also, so I was shocked to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe me, it has been. I only believe it because I've been tracking it for so long. That's the only reason I do believe it, because I remember when it finally overtook Stranger Things 4, and when it finally overtook Squid Game, because those 3 had been kind of fighting it out.
Squid Game,
Because it was literally in that order. Squid Game became the #1 series.
Now,
then months later, it was Stranger Things. Now
real
Wednesday's
quick,
beating that.
this is based on watch hours for a season.
Yes,
for a show?
per
Okay.
season. Yeah, all of their originals and stuff is broken down per season. So that's why, like, it didn't beat Stranger Things overall. And I'm sure if you took Stranger Things and you added all the 4 seasons together, it would be number one
it's
by
gonna blow it out.
miles. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But that's why it technically, only had the hurdle of beating Stranger Things season 4. Because, well, not really, because all the other seasons, all the other seasons are just way further down the list, so it also beat those. But yeah, it's all done broken out per season. But that's pretty crazy. Did you see this? The first trailer for Superpowered, the DC story, a new 3-part docuseries streaming July 20th on Max.
I didn't watch the trailer, but I was interested by the documentary. I always love those. Even Warner Brothers has like a few episodes of because I think it's the 100th anniversary or whatever.
Yeah.
They have a few like episodes of 100-year anniversary or whatever on Max.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to check out, but I haven't.
Do you know how many they have? Because I know that's a 4-part series.
I was gonna say I thought it was 4.
Oh, okay. Because I know that they did come out apart from each other. I know. I think it was 2 and 2.
I think they're all out at this point.
Okay, yeah. Because I definitely want to go back and watch those for sure. If anything, just to remember, Warner Brothers before Zaslav implodes it. But yeah. Next up here, touching in with the strike and the Hollywood situation here. So context, SAG is now in its 9th week of their strike, WGA, the Writers Guild, is now its 9th week of its strike. SAG at the beginning of June voted that they would approve a strike, that basically they all voted to leave it up to the board, that if the board's interest is to go for a strike, that they would approve the strike. Now, there have been rumors, because July 5th is the day that if their contract runs out and the negotiation is not met by July 5th, they will be on strike. So now, because that date is coming, we've now had an open letter sent to the board of SAG. So they already voted to approve a strike. But now many of the actors are fearful that the board is going to make a deal just purely to avoid the strike. And so now we have Brendan Fraser, Jennifer Lawrence, Quinta Brunson, Nev Campbell, Maya Hawke, Riley Keough, Meryl Streep, and over 300 other actors signing this open letter written to the board, urging SAG not to settle for a deal that does not represent all of their requests. It also goes on to say, obviously, to not do anything that would directly impact the WGA, the Writers Guild, because obviously that's where the DGA got into some hot water earlier this month, because there was rumors that the DGA had signed this like midnight deal and that they avoided their strike. That ended up not being true. They did get a midnight deal. They were negotiating with the studios, not in solidarity with the other 2 guilds. But that has yet to sign. So a DGA strike could still be on the board. But basically, SAG doesn't want to be in that position where all of a sudden the SAG board will just take the first deal that they give them, essentially. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, it's not a guarantee that SAG will strike. At this point, it's next week. But it is another step towards that, because now we have the strike is approved by all the actors, and now the actors are urging them, hey, we're fine with taking the strike, at least for now. What are your thoughts on all this? It's kind of another step forward.
Yeah, I think it's part of this, overwhelming kind of group kind of mentality that, these actors and writers have currently, to just kind of stand together to try to get fair deals for, each union, and something that benefits everybody.
Yeah.
So that's really good to see, and nice to see such like kind of heavy hitters like highlighting that list.
Yeah, I didn't expect to read Meryl Streep's name at the end there.
No, I didn't either. So that's really nice to see. Is there like a full list or anything like? Or anything
I can pull it. Where'd it go?
I didn't know if it was in that article.
Well, if it was an open letter, I think there's a way to view it.
Yeah, right.
So, man, I can never believe that Fran Drescher is the woman like at the heart of all this SAG stuff. That the nanny.
I got a few other ones from this Rolling Stone article. So we got Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Rami Malek, Quinta Brunson, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Ben Stiller, Neil Patrick Harris, Amy Schumer, and Amy Poehler. So there's a lot of people on there. A lot of people that carry some weight. So that is really good to see.
Sorry, I'm just.
Very good.
Yeah, so some of the quotes here, I don't know how to pull up the main thing. I was hoping that it would be maybe linked in this article, but I have the entire list actually. Never mind, I have the entire list. So yeah, I mean, tons and tons of people. Just I don't even know where to start. I mean, Fred Armisen, Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth Banks, Ike Barinholtz, everybody. Literally, just tons of people that you would assume, basically. Bunch of Succession people. Keith Carradine. There you go. Shout out. Yeah, tons and tons of people. But you can view the entire list over on the Ariana DeBose. You can view that entire list over on the Rolling Stone article. But some of the things here it basically says, so Fran Drescher said in a video statement to SAG, we're having an extremely productive negotiations that are laser focused on all of the critical issues you told us are most important to you. We're standing strong and we are going to achieve a seminal deal. Now, I get it. I mean, that does not... Oh, there you go. Now, I get it. Like, that does not really inspire me with confidence. Like, if you're, like, a week before negotiations close, you're like, we're extremely, productive negotiations that are, I don't know. I feel like, you got to make them fight for it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, the whatever. And so then some of the actors said, SAG-AFTRA members may be ready to make sacrifices that the leadership is not. So, yeah. I think basically it's a lot of these people saying like, hey, we would rather, so here you go. We want you to know that we would rather go on strike than compromise on these fundamental points. And we believe that if we settle for a less than transformative deal, the future of our union and our craft will be undermined. The SAG-AFTRA will enter the next negotiation with drastically reduced leverage. Yeah, exactly. Because now it's not only about this strike, it's about the next one. It's about, well, who was the one that ended up folding in the last go-around? It was SAG, so, they're going to be an easier target. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to break down in that, and we're going to monitor it closely and everything like that. But speaking of the strike and the WGA strike and the use of artificial intelligence and things, TJ, it's the Tuesday curse. It's the Ted Lasso curse. It's just going to follow us around with all these Wednesday shows. All the way back last week, Wednesday, the world shook. I don't know if you felt it, but I did. And that is obviously Secret Invasion's use of AI to implemented use of an AI tool to create its intro. Obviously, there has been a lot of backlash. I'm just going to come right out and say it, a lot of uninformed backlash, I will say, the first day, which is genuinely the sole reason I hit the uninstall button, but one of the main reasons that I was like, I can't do it with Twitter. I was like having like a fit. I was like, oh my God, if I go on here and see one more tweet that's like, they have rocked the foundations of like this like network style like screaming on Twitter that was coming off. But yeah, there's a lot that we could talk about this, but what were your thoughts on this? What were your thoughts on the intro? Did you even realize when you first saw it, did you even realize that it was AI? What were your thoughts on some of kind of people's reactions to this? And then we'll talk about what I think, kind of the opinion that we both kind of fall on with this.
Well, I already knew it was our AI generated just because I saw it on Twitter. So I watched the episode late the day it came out, so I probably saw it like 5-6 p.m. whatever. Yeah, I guess and I think we agree again on this point. We're kind of in the minority on this, where I don't see it as I see both sides. Whereas could an artist have done this? Could you have gone to, some artists wherever and been like, hey, can you make this? And we're trying to we're trying to send this message
Yeah.
with this intro. Can you do, yeah, sure. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Do it. Also, I do see the point that I think Marvel and the director and whoever was trying to make by making this a very unsettling kind of intro. At first, I think and I'm still not really sure how it was put together. I've heard that it was, a production house that put it together by using AI as a tool to put this piece together.
I do have that answer.
Okay. Where at first I was like, oh, did they just tell
Secret invasion
thing.
intro.
Yeah, did they just say, oh, make it like this with the White House?
That's what Twitter
and
would
Sam
have you
Jackson,
believe.
and they just enter, and it was like, oh, here you go. Now, if it was in that case, then I'd be like, oh, well,
Of course.
I'd probably go against that. But if you're using it as a tool, you have artists working on it. I don't see really the issue, especially if the production house is coming out and telling you, hey, no jobs were sacrificed in making this piece of art for this intro.
For sure.
So I'm kind of, on the fence. I do lean more towards the it's okay. I get, it's something they wanted to do. I get it, and I get why they did it. But I also see the other. I can see the other side, because it is a slippery slope where it's like, okay, we keep doing this. Eventually, does somebody at Marvel say, hey, we don't need these 5 people to kind of show the program or whatever how to do this. We could just do it ourselves. We don't need these people.
Yeah.
Could we get to that point at some point? Possibly, I don't know, but that's where I was at on it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I was very glad when I messaged you, and I believe I forgot that we had talked about it before you had seen the episode, because it was all that day, all that Wednesday, no pun intended. But I wasn't even informed on it. And I will say this, I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm an expert in, deep fakes or AI generated shit or anything like that. I just feel like I'm a person who watches stuff that talks about that. I watch every video that Corridor and Corridor Digital and Corridor Crew, VFX artists break down and reacts. I watch all of that stuff weekly, like multiple videos weekly. Like a lot of people out there, I watch the Mandalorian documentaries. By the way, we have the new one coming out next week, I believe. Mandalorian Gallery, for season 3. So very excited for that. But, I watch Star Wars Gallery. I watch stuff like that. I want to know as much as I can about this AI stuff, these AI tools for design. So I try to soak up as much information as that. So the first thing I told my coworker, when I got to work on Wednesday was, I was just like, I'm sorry, there is no way that they went, Secret Invasion intro, Sam Jackson, White House, Skrull, green sky, boom. And that's literally what Twitter was basically reading like that day. And I was just like, oh my God. And somebody who I watch all the time, but I very rarely agree with the man, is John Roca. And I was right there with him with this take. And also, I know I talk about him all the time too, but Dan Murrell, also in his streaming news show, did go into all this. And he was probably, if you want to get a way more informed version of what I'm about to say, Dan broke it down for like 10 minutes. Everything, broke down everything from Method Studios, everything that was put out about it. But basically, I said to my coworker, I said, there's no way that they did that. What it had to be was real artists, or, I would be shocked if they used an AI art generator to generate concept art and then feed that into the AI engine, which obviously is not what happened. And that's exactly what Method Studios came out and said, is that we had a team of designers, artists, illustrators, concept artists digital artists, a whole team, a whole small army of people worked on this intro. And by the way, Method Studio has done the intro for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, for Loki, for Miss Marvel. So that's right. You know, all of those Miss Marvel logos, which was so cool in that show, how the logo would always just be, 20 different logos going by really fast. While all of those logos were made by human beings, that Method Studios has said that they've used machine learning to create some of the rest of them, some of the smaller assets to fill things out. Mm-hmm. They go back. Method Studios has been working with Marvel for a decade, so whatever other things they've been working on, not all of it has been AI, obviously, but Method Studios is no new person to Marvel, to Disney Plus, to Hollywood. The only thing that's new is that the team who works on all these things, and I saw a lot of people. One of the first things I saw was, "This it blows. Here's a real intro," and then the Daredevil Netflix intro, which is obviously one of the best intros ever made for anything. Some of the artists who worked on the Secret Invasion intro worked on the Daredevil one. So it's like, what do you want to do? Like, art can be different. And they said the only thing that they had to teach the machine to do was that they used machine learning, not AI of, they didn't go to intro GPT, and enter it like that. They fed all of this art that they made into this machine learning, and they developed this style, the style for the AI engine to pass through it, that they called scroll cubism, to kind of give that like weird, like, kind of freaky look to things. Right. But, you look at, and I would really hope that one day we could see some of the original art that was fed into the machine. Because, like, they had to make a White House with a green sky and then feed that into the AI machine. It's not like they just spit out all these images. And I just think that that's really important to keep in your mind and understand about the process. And so, like, the people that are like, they need to, like William Bibiani, who's just so extreme for extreme's sake, in my opinion, sometimes. He was like, I will no longer be covering Secret Invasion, and I will no longer be watching that show ever, because this has just crossed a line, and this is going to be the end of the entertainment industry, and it begins here with the Secret Invasion intro. And it's like, guys, let's all just, like, breathe for a second. And like you, obviously, talking about AI reading a book and then pumping out a first draft of a movie script is bad. That is very bad for writers, for everything, for many, many reasons. But stuff like this, the AI is just not there yet. Like, to think that they just spit this out of a computer, a week before the show came out, it's just not how these things work. And I do hope that, and they probably will, but I do hope that, like, Corridor Digital or somebody, one of their channels or something, puts out a video on this. They get guests in all the time, so I would even love a sit-down interview with somebody from Method Studios to talk about it. That would be really, really cool. But yeah, and then TJ, last thing here, what were your thoughts on Secret Invasion?
I really enjoyed the episode. I thought the worst part of it was probably just God, Leva Coleman, right?
Oh, okay.
Why can't I remember her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite part. Just because it's a lot of implied stuff that I just don't. I'm not. They're telling me that they have a relationship. I don't know that relationship.
Yeah.
So, can I get maybe a flashback, or be help if we've seen her before in something? I don't know. That was probably my least favorite part of it. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought, Ben Mendelsohn was awesome. Emilia Clarke was great. I thought it started awesome with that whole kind of Ross kind of running through, oh, is it him? And then he's running away, and it turns out it's a scroll. And now you're like, well, is Everett Ross, like, real?
Yeah, exactly.
Was he a scroll? You know,
So many questions.
and then the ending. That was just, I don't even know what to think. It was a shock to me. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's foolproof. If it's gonna come back. If that character will come back at some point. But I was pretty shocked, and I will say Sam Jackson was awesome. He looks like he's having a great time playing this character again. And who plays the villain again?
Kingsley Benadir.
Kingsley Benadir. He was awesome and very. He didn't say. I don't think he had that many lines in this episode.
No,
he portrayed a very, very menacing villain. I thought he did so very well.
Yeah. Now, can I? So I already put my thoughts on the episode up on the channel, which you guys can see right now. Can I throw a theory at you?
Okay, yes, you can.
Okay. So, what if, not that this is going to happen, but we all love Talos and, fun Talos, like, Spider-Man, that post-credit scene, hilarious, and he's, hilarious in this, he was great in Captain Marvel. He's like, oh my god, is this like fierce war general? And it's like, no, he's just like kind of a goofy dad. But at the same time, it is Ben Mendelsohn, obviously fantastic actor. What if they did not kill his wife off of screen?
I don't even remember. Wait,
and what
did
if
she die in Captain Marvel?
No, she died because remember she was in Far From Home. She was the one that was when he was being Fury. She was the one that was being Hill.
Right.
And then I don't know for sure. I don't think it was, but remember we also had the female Skrull that showed up at the end of WandaVision.
Right.
So that may have been Soren, is his wife's name. I don't know though off the top of my head. But either way, she was alive and well at the end of Far From Home for sure. I'm just saying. What if, Talos, kind of convenient that, right before all this, nuclear war is supposed to happen with Americas and Russian caused by the Skrulls, he conveniently got kicked off of the council from leading the Skrulls, and now he's the only one that Fury can trust, and Fury says, the only reason I came down from Saber was to help Talos, because I owe it to him. Just saying, if that graphic guy was supposedly taking Fury's failing hard, what are the chances that Talos is the actual villain of this show? Because
I think it's a possibility.
He has that line where he goes, the only reason we've been helping you all these years is because of your promise.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think, and he lost his daughter. Yeah, exactly. And he's lost his daughter in his life.
Yeah.
If it's true, he has lost his wife. I'm just saying, I think there could be a big twist coming with Talos. That's just it. Maybe it won't pan out, but
I'm not going to rule it out.
Yeah.
After this first episode, I won't rule anything out personally.
Exactly.
But that remains to be seen. There are those hints, like you said though, that one little kind of I've been loyal to you. Where's my planet?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Where's
been 35 years. What are we doing here, buddy? But yeah, I do think it's a possibility. I'm not saying that I'm putting all my eggs in that basket,
right.
But I do think it's definitely a possibility.
Agreed.
All right, box office. I just want to hit real quick here. Honestly, biggest news here: Transformers still at number 5. No Hard Feelings opens at number 4. Opened to 15 million. Better than they thought. They thought it was going to be like 11 or 12 million. So a little bit of an overperformance. A massive underperformance that we'll circle back to is The Flash, which in its second week dropped down to a number 3rd place.
Yikes.
A meteoric, humongous, biggest DC drop since 1996's Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal, of 72%, just barely beating No Hard Feelings, mind you. So just barely holding on by the skin of its teeth. Probably about 2 movie theaters worth of box office money, separating it from No Hard Feelings. And then a good week for Elemental. Good news for Elemental. A stronghold with a 30% drop brings in another $18.5 million, coming in at number 2 for the second week in a row. Again, just barely by just a few $100,000, losing out the number 1 spot to what has now jumped back up the charts. Number 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, picking up another $19 million. So like I said, only about $500,000 separating Elemental from that number 1 spot. That would have been a huge victory, on paper at least, and a huge news story victory for Elemental if it could have taken over that number 1 spot. It still doesn't stand a shot to make its money back. But the fact that it held strong, I think, is still if anything else, a moral boost for Pixar, which I think it needs right now pretty bad. But what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, 2 biggest things here, definitely going to be the massive drop of The Flash and the fact that Spider-Man has leapfrogged back up the list to the number 1 spot.
Yeah, Spider-Man not that surprising. No hard feelings. Nice to see a top 5. Kind of maybe expected. Asteroid City is, nice to see the increase. Obviously, it kind of went way wider this week, so it's technically been in theaters for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Transformers. Again, I'm kind of waiting for that on Paramount Plus, but I do see total gross at $123 million, which is way higher than I thought it was going to be at this point. If you would have asked me last week what it was going to be, I probably would have said, maybe around even like Flash territory, just because Transformers. It's been very, very, very hit and miss. Even though I know Michael Bay, $1 billion, etc. Bumblebee was good, but how many people really saw it? So I didn't really have that much confidence in this one. So 123 million is a surprise. The Flash is just what? Can you click on the Flash for the worldwide?
You got it.
212 million worldwide. Yikes, that is bad.
For sure.
I still have yet to see it. I plan to see it this weekend, so I will be interested to see what I think. Man, I'll tell you what. I've seen this. Speaking to the CG of the movie, I've seen some shots, and it's just
horrific.
It does not look good. Like
Yeah.
it looks terrible. It really looks bad.
See, but what you don't understand is that we're in the perspective of the Flash, so it's supposed to look like
I'm
that.
sorry, but that's such a. When I saw that, I was like, that's such a bullshit argument.
I thought of such a funny thing today where I went, do you think Andy Muschietti said that because he was like, oh, what is the Flash supposed to look like? And they just showed him a couple recent episodes of the TV show, and he was like, why does the CGI look like that?
Right.
And they were just like, oh, that's just how the Flash sees things.
Just speaking of, real quick, this is going back to another movie in the top 5, but did you see the thing that I guess like Sony sent out to theaters that played Spider-Verse at like the correct volume?
Yeah, the stickers.
I was like, or you just fucking, mix it in
correctly.
The correct thing, mix it correctly, and you just don't have to worry about it. Like, don't get like just. It was so, especially you too. You cannot trust any of these. You cannot trust any theater to play movies to specifics,
and especially the theater that I work at now, the one that we used to work at. We don't live in LA, you know what I mean? We get a lot of old people and families, and if you put that shit at 7, I'm sorry, you're having a kid run out and go, can you turn the volume down in theater 8? And then it's like, okay, and then you have to go up and turn it down, and then 2.5 hours later you have to go put it back to 7 just for the next group of people to say that, so I'm telling you right now, theaters are going to play it at the theater recommended level, which is like a 5. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to blast it. Also, you have to keep in mind that, a lot of theaters out there are old, and a lot of their equipment is old, and you can't just blast 12 hours a day on some of these speakers without them all just blowing. I mean, like, you have to take some of these things in mind. Like, sure, Nolan sound mixes in the most premium Dolby theater possible, but it's like,
I think it's gonna blow your speakers apart.
Yeah, like, you have to know that, you know, not every theater is built the same. Like, look at like the Amherst theater, the small one that we have near us. You know, you can't put Spider-Verse in there and blast it, and the people next door watching Past Lives, you know, are gonna be like, "What's going on over there?"
Somebody's
like,
gonna come out to you and say, "Hey, can you turn down that atomic bomb next door? Thank you very much."
oh my god, I just anything else on box office there?
No, but they're gonna say, you know, I can hear Einstein solving E=mc² from next door.
I was just gonna say, I gotta show you this. So this is a tweet that said, the Barbie Dreamhouse has appeared in Malibu to promote the film.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. And that's somebody. This was from a TikTok, but somebody said, "Breaking news: the Barbie Dreamhouse has been nuked in a new marketing campaign for Oppenheimer." And they just showed the same mail just destroyed.
I think Barbie, personally, just quick prediction. I think Barbie will blow Oppenheimer.
Exactly. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I think, but that being said,
maybe
I think
it's not a hot take, so you know. But
let's just say this: I think that the audience that will want to see Oppenheimer is a lot more of a Venn diagram with the audience. What am I trying to say? A lot more of the Oppenheimer audience is gonna see Barbie as well, than, you know, most of the Barbie audience probably won't care about Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Right.
Like I think just on its foundational level, because film fans and Nolan, you know, fans and everything like that, and also, you know, the dads of the world and everything, they're like, they can't wait for Oppenheimer. But, you know, all those same Nolan fans, all those same film fans are also going to go see Barbie. But maybe the dads won't go see Barbie.
Yeah.
But all the moms and families and everybody that is going to see Barbie, you know, not all those kids are going to want to go see Oppenheimer. So I think just based on its face value, I think that, you know, Barbie just stands a much better chance.
They're gonna say, "Hey, where's the lead fridge in this bomb movie?"
Yeah, exactly. What the hell's going on?
Crawling
Here?
in one and surviving.
Where's the little weasel?
Where's the town?
Or yeah, exactly. Where's Nuketown, USA? All right. Let's move on here too. You want to do some of these reactions and end off on Indiana Jones? All right.
Oh, yeah.
So, first trailer. First one I want to do a reaction to is one I don't know if you have seen yet.
I've not. I don't even know what this is.
And this is for Ethan Coen's new movie, Drive Away Dolls. So this is the one that we talked about on the show a couple months ago. That there was going to be a list of kind of cameos or appearances in this movie from some people that, you know, we'll see in the trailer. Because unfortunately, I did see a version of this trailer that played before Asteroid City. I was hoping to avoid it to save myself for the reaction, but I did see a version of it, but it was a shorter trailer, I think. But yeah, and then I feel like it kind of falls into this comedy mode, but I will give you, you know, it is that kind of like, is it really a comedy or is it a, you know, comedy, you know, crime movie? Like, I feel like everything has to have like a qualifier on it and be like a subgenre. But yeah, let's take a look here. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film Network. Today, we are taking a look at the brand new trailer for Drive Away Dolls. All right. Hopefully, you guys should all be able to hear this.
Pedro, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
The case, Santos.
Not on your life.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know why I found that funny. Oh, yeah, I know her.
Yeah. I always forget her name. Geraldine, whatever. And then Margaret Qualley.
You're not wearing that.
I just came from work.
I came from Toledo. I don't dress like it.
I'm not here to peddle my wares.
I love her.
I am too. That was my
are you going? Tallahassee, Florida. I've been
What's that
unhappy.
accent?
That's why we take this trip together, huh, babe? We get our act together.
Together?
Together. I love this guy too. He's so good.
Don't call me Curly.
And your name, Curly?
My name is Curly. We just met. It's too familiar.
We're here for the car.
Wait a minute. You call with a drop-off in Tallahassee, and then these broads come in and say they're ready to go to Tallahassee.
Classic mix-up.
They drive the car instead of you. Is that bad?
Bad if they find
Oh, he's from Euphoria.
Yeah. Coleman Domingo, I think.
What?
He also just played Unicron.
It's locked.
What is that?
Transformers. It's the briefcase from Pulp Fiction.
I was just thinking, yeah, that's
that
exactly
you're
what I
unhappy, sir. We will find and deliver the package.
We just want your friends.
Beanie Feldstein.
Oh.
You cannot relate to the public, which in the service profession is a big handicap.
Did the two crates
Oh, I
find you?
forget that guy's
They
name.
know we have their stuff. Maybe we sell it back. Shake them down.
Are they like wanted or something?
Oh no, they're not in trouble at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna help
This
you
is
break
reminding
this.
me of like
That is
of
about
the
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
of Umbrella Academy or something. Yeah, Coleman Domingo.
Who are you?
Democrats.
Kylie.
Wow, you've had a full day.
September 22nd.
Huh. That looked fun. That looked like a good time.
Yeah, that looks I'm really excited for that one actually. Like genuinely. I'm more excited for that than I thought I was going to be, and I really love
I don't know about that accent. That's
It's definitely a choice.
definitely
for
a
sure.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like fun.
I feel like hopefully I'll get used to it. I feel like too she's like Margaret Qualley's like new enough on the scene that I feel like I'm not so incredibly used to her accent that it'll be like weird. But then again, also think about how many people do accents out of the blue.
Right.
But yeah, really really enjoyed that trailer. I think it looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, guys, let us know what do you think of the brand new trailer for Drive Away Dolls. I don't know what does that name mean?
I have no idea.
Is it supposed to like be like a play on words or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm just like whatever. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer. Do you love Margaret Qualley? Are you excited for all the cameos in this? Pedro Pascal, Matt Damon, a bunch of other people as well. Beanie Feldstein. Let us know what your thoughts are down below, and we will catch you guys in the next video. Awesome. All right. So next up, I know nothing about.
I haven't seen the trailer either.
So yeah, but I mean, I know nothing about any of this. I don't know anything.
You don't know about the bite of '87.
I don't know about anything. I don't. You. What's that? Oh no. My other friend from work, he texted me and said something like, "Oh, that something Freddy cameo was crazy," and I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
cameo.
I'm like,
Oh, I
sure,
didn't know
yeah. Or he said appearance or something like that. Only thing I know is that Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard are in this movie. That is literally it. And that Jason Blum has been like dying to make this movie for like 5 years or something.
I actually, funny enough, I did watch like a lore video a while ago, but I don't remember like anything because I was kind of interested in the story, but I didn't want to play the games.
I want to actually ask you before we get into the reaction. What was it now? Are you a fan of the Twisted Metal franchise?
No.
Okay,
Not like
is that
George
Travis?
Miller. That is.
Isn't Travis obsessed with? Okay, I want to get
Metal.
I want to get his thoughts on that trailer or lack thereof trailer because I mean that came out like a month ago, but we never really talked about it. But it just made me think of it. Obviously, I think this is probably going to be a little bit bigger of a hit than the Twisted Metal Netflix series, but let us see. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film Network. Today, we are taking a look at the brand new, highly anticipated trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's. All right. And when I say I know nothing, I mean I know he's a bear that moves.
Right.
All right. Well, this doesn't look like a video game at all.
I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids.
They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
Why does it need a guard?
You will sleep.
I understand.
Great question.
Give me your hand.
The hell?
Uh,
Ah! Mithrigan.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Oh, that looks fun. Who's that?
this Halloween.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Them.
Met who?
What are you talking about?
Them.
Oh, fucking hell.
What the hell?
Don't close your eyes. What are you doing?
Oh, he went to sleep. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Bill.
In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Weight of 87.
The bite of
They
87.
never found them.
Do these robots eat children?
Oh, yeah, bro.
What?
Children possessing giant robots? Thanks for the heads up.
Or something like that.
Technically, they're
It's something
animatronics.
like that.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Pappy! Tell me how to
What?
It's too late.
Pappy, go!
I'm assuming this little song is like the theme of the game.
It might be. I have no idea.
Whoa!
Where to? Why do I always get the weirdos?
What was that?
I'm definitely checking it out on Peacock. I'm not going to the theater to watch it. What is it?
Man.
What is it called? It's like there's like something that it's like they call it when they get like stuck in the suit or whatever. But real quick, I thought that was an interesting trailer. Not as like scary as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how
I
the
feel
movie
like with
is.
Peacock, maybe they want to angle it a little bit more towards families.
Maybe.
But also it's like, well, also it's difficult because it's like a mature rated game, but like everybody knows that it's like kids that plays it.
Kids play it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of that like how do you translate that into marketing a movie? Because it's like
Right.
you want this movie to be rated R, but like you kind of know that you're making it for parents to bring their kids to. So it's like kind of that weird line that I think Blumhouse did well with Megan.
I agree.
Yeah.
And real quick, did you think the animatronics, are they CG or are they practical?
Do you know the answer? I don't know. I
do
thought
know the answer,
they
yeah.
looked good enough to be practical.
They are practical.
Okay, I was going to be
Yeah.
equally impressed either way because I thought if those were CG, that is some incredible CG, and then obviously if they're practical, that's awesome.
Now, I could be correct because I did just read this on Twitter. They were created by the Jim Henson Creator Shop.
Oh, there you go.
So
Awesome. Maybe we'll get a little
I think
Disney
it's
Plus.
yeah.
Maybe we'll get a little Disney Plus documentary on the making of Five Guys at Freddy's. That's awesome though. I mean, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know that I knew that the robots. It was like, oh, creepy robot. I didn't realize that the robots eat kids or
Yeah, it's
take over kids or whatever it is.
Well, it's got something to do with the founder or something. I think William Afton's his name. I want to say that might be who Matthew Lillard is playing.
Oh, okay.
He's like an evil kind of guy. He's like the one bear that's kind of beat up. I think that's he gets trapped in the suit or so. I don't know. It's something weird. But I believe he is not I believe he is a very bad guy, especially when it comes to kids. But I could be wrong.
Ooh, okay. Well,
Yes, that is who Matt Lillard is playing.
Okay. I'm very interested to see this movie.
I could be wrong.
I'm very interested to see this movie. I thought the trailer did look pretty good. I think I probably will watch it on Peacock unless it's like incredibly short. Yeah, I'm more excited for it than I thought I was. I also think we should talk about too. I think Josh Hutcherson, great actor, needs more leading stuff like this. You know, obviously he has in the past, obviously, but yeah, I think it looks really, really good. Let us know, what do you guys think of the brand new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer for the new film that is going to be coming out? So let us know that down below. And if you are looking forward to it, or if you didn't like the trailer, let us know. But thank you guys for joining us for this reaction. We'll catch you in the next one. All right. I wanted to ask you too. So is it kind of like, you know, you played the Portal games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of like that? How there's like all this like history that you kind of learn throughout the game? Like you kind of like learn about like the lore of the company type thing?
I believe so.
Okay.
I want to say it's like not like I want to say it's like a spirit thing or something. I could be very well be wrong.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Real quick bio
Yeah.
on William Afton, real quick on fandom.
Okay.
William Afton is the main antagonist of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. He's the co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment, as well as the founder of Afton Robotics. He's a serial killer who is directly and indirectly responsible for all of the incidents, murders, and tragedies throughout the series. His role in the franchise's story is pivotal. So that's what I got for you.
Wow. Okay. William Afferton, you say?
Afton.
Afton. Okay.
A-F-T-O-N.
I will avoid him in the supermarket. Great. All right. Let's pivot on over here to some Indiana Jones talk. So first of all, actually, let me just get that going. All right, there we go. So first of all, I just want to lay down kind of a foundation of where you're at, how you feel about the Indiana Jones franchise overall, and if you can, what were your kind of thoughts, you know, your kind of dormant thoughts before this most recent rewatch, and then kind of give me your thoughts, you know, having kind of lived in it this past week, as we both have, watching, you know, as much as we could. Where are your kind of overall thoughts at with this franchise of Indiana Jones?
Before my rewatch, I was I knew where I stood, I think, pretty much on every single movie. And I kind of remain that way even after the rewatch, where, you know, I'd say the best ones are probably the first three, and the fourth one that came out in 2008, I think it was, missed the mark. For me, it's a little different just because I saw that one in theaters. I saw it with my dad. So I look at it more fondly, I'd say, than probably, you know, a lot of people that, you know, weren't kids at that time, growing up or anything like that. Yeah, I still look at the franchise very fondly because I think it's a great adventure franchise, as well as just great characters with Harrison Ford and Sala, and, you know, Sean Connery playing his dad, and, you know, we have you know, obviously some great Nazi villains, as well as, you know, maybe Temple of Doom not so great, and you know, we have Kate Blanchett as the Russian or Ukrainian, whatever, not great, maybe. But I still look at the series very fondly, just because especially the first three, find the movies so enjoyable and just so much fun.
Yeah, I think I agree with you a ton. Really, really big fan of this franchise, but I will say, you know, it's not. I got a lot of posters in my room, and I got a lot of movie posters, but I also have these location posters behind me. I don't have any that are Indiana Jones.
Right.
So I don't know what that says, but I think it says something, which is, you know, I love these movies, but I don't like. I'm not like, ooh, let me seek it out. Like, I don't rewatch Indiana Jones every year, even though, you know, in the past couple years, I definitely have rewatched them multiple times, but it's not like Star Wars where I'm just like, every year I'm looking for an opening to rewatch all of them, or even more accurately, Harry Potter. I'm looking for an opening to watch through all 8 of those movies, once a season. It's definitely not on that level for me, but I really, really love these movies. I just think they're so much fun, and so some of them are so lighthearted, and it's just, it kind of runs the gamut too, because it's like Raiders is this incredible action, kind of romance movie, with obviously tons more going on as well. Temple of Doom is just a straight up action ride, start to finish. There is no, Indy the Professor. There's none of that. He gets dressed up like a professor once, and that's just for a fancy dinner. The Last Crusade, I'm sure we'll talk plenty about. For me, Last Crusade just hits that higher level of, it's a fun adventure, but it also has incredible character work and incredible moments, and 2 incredible performances by 2 incredible actors at the helm. And then Crystal Skull, again, like you, I saw that movie in the theaters. I loved that movie when it first came out. I thought, nuking the fridge was just hilarious and fun. And I'm sorry, rewatching Temple of Doom
in 2008, we're, how old are we?
Yeah, like 9, 10,
yeah. So we're,
Exactly. Yeah, but it's like, and I know tons of people are saying this now, but it's just like, it's the same like prequel thing. It's like, okay, buddy, when you were 9, you sat there and watched Indy, Short Round, and Willie jump out of a plane into a rubber raft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the more realistic fall. The unrealistic one is when they go over the second cliff. No way are you surviving that. The plane I'll maybe give you because it was so close to the ground, whatever. But there's some crazy stuff in Temple of Doom, and in all of them. Freaking Henry Jones Sr. takes down a biplane by, umbrellaing a bunch of, umbrellaing a bunch of geese or whatever. All these movies have crazy stuff in it. But that being said, Crystal Skull for me, it was the first Indiana Jones movie that I saw. Because unlike Star Wars, it was not something that I had seen and then went and saw the prequels. Obviously I saw earlier stuff earlier, but either way, I was not like, oh, let me watch all 3 of these movies so that I can then see the 4th one. It was very much, I saw the 4th one, and then I was like, there are more of these? And it's hard to tell exactly when that was, but I mean, it's been a part of my life for a long time. And then in terms of this rewatch, just fantastic. Just really, really loved it. I did kind of truncate, what did I do? Oh yeah, I did kind of truncate Temple of Doom. I started watching Temple of Doom a couple of days ago, and then I stopped, and then I fell asleep a little bit. And then when I woke back up, I just played it from where it was. But other than that, but also I had seen Temple of Doom because I just rewatched not all 4 of them, the first 3 about a year and a half ago, I think. So, it's still pretty fresh in my mind, obviously. And I've also been watching, if anybody out there subscribes to Mr. Sunday Movies, the Australian guys on YouTube, they're doing their series. And every week they've been tackling one of the Indiana Jones movies. So I've been listening to those. Really, really fun. That's probably where I'm at with it. But next thing I want to know, are there any surprises this time around? So things that maybe hit you differently or hit you especially harder, or just like some standout moments that you feel like from this time around, from any of the movies.
Just for... I guess the only thing that really kind of immediately jumps to mind was last night when I was rewatching Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've only seen it maybe 3 times, and last night was probably the 3rd time I've seen it, and I laughed a lot. Probably at spots maybe not supposed to have, specifically the Mud or Mutt, sorry,
Mutt
swinging from
Williams,
vines
yeah.
in the jungle.
Oh, yeah.
That was laughable. You know, there's some kind of just things that some of the characters say that are just like goofy, like
Yeah.
the "I like Ike" or what I forget. I texted you what Mutt says in the diner about Ox.
Oh,
Something
yeah, I
about,
know what you're saying. Yeah.
blowing off his head. I don't know,
Something.
something ridiculous that was like, what? Like, what do you say?
The ox is smogging in the noggin.
Yeah, like what does that even mean? Or just like I think at one point when Kate Blanchett like holds the sword up to his neck and he goes, whoa, wait, he goes, takes out his comb, he goes, like, does his hair.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, just we just stop. Just stuff like that. I think I found it more goofy than I thought I was going to. And trying to think, I mean, Temple of Doom maybe was a little bit more, not unbelievable, but I realized how much more I like it when Indy is kind of tasked with searching for something more than just kind of falling into it. Whereas Temple of Doom, the tribe believes that, like, oh, you know, you were sent here by I forget
Shiva.
the Hindu god name. What did you say?
Shiva.
I definitely preferred it in like Raiders and in the Last Crusade, where it's like, oh, you know, we're being sent out to search for
And it
this
feels more,
thing.
the other ones feel like more personal.
Yes.
You know, even Crystal Skull, I think, feels more personal than Temple of Doom.
Right. Just because you have these characters that are innately tied up in what we're searching for.
Yeah.
Obviously with the dad in Last Crusade and Ox in the Skull, and then Raiders is, I don't think there's any like kind of, what's the emotional connection there?
Well, it's basically like,
I guess it's
like Marion and Abner Ravenwood's, like,
I guess it's Marion,
yeah, and basically just, I think the arc, I don't know, I feel like the impression that I get is like the arc is one of the things that for his dad was like the grail. Like, I feel like the arc was one of the things, like, just the shorthand that him and Marcus have about the arc, like, it just feels more important. And it's also, you know, I think they make it more personal in other ways, where he personally wants to keep it out of the hands of, like, Belloc, right? Like, Belloc is such an important character in that first movie, whereas, like, in the first one and in the third one, it's like, yeah, we don't want the Nazis to get this thing. But then also, it's like, there's then the personal side with, like, Belloc, and then with Donovan in the third one, played by Grand Maester Pycelle himself, Julian Glover, fantastically. So yeah, I think, and then like you said, with 4, obviously it's about, like, yes, it's about his friend with Ox and the skull and everything, but it's also about, you know, connecting with his son. Like, that's basically the emotional core of 4. And so I think Temple of Doom just doesn't have that. I mean, like, obviously, like, Short Round is his biggest emotional connection in that whole movie.
One of the best parts of the movie.
Easily one of the best parts of the movie. But even we just talked a little bit earlier about Secret Invasion and kind of the implied history. It's like, even Short Round, he's very endearing, and we're endeared to him from almost the first moments that we see him. But also it's like, oh, we've been traveling together, you know, such a long time, you know, Dr. Jones. And it's like, yeah, but, you know, we haven't seen any of that. So it's kind of like, it's like he's the most personal connection, but it's like you just kind of are told about that personal connection rather than, like, seeing it, which you could also say for Marion. But then, you know, you go follow the thread all the way to Crystal Skull. Now Marion obviously becomes even more important to Indy's overall history and life. But yeah, so I thought there was a couple of surprising things, or just things that kind of hit me differently this time. But all right, let's get into our rankings here, and I do want to, you know, touch on talking about the movies, but I don't want to, just for the sake of time and just because it's been done to death, I don't want to go into a specific review on each of them, but more just a discussion here. And anybody that's watching, what are your thoughts on the Indiana Jones franchise? What are your thoughts on Harrison Ford as the character? Are you excited for Dial of Destiny? Let us know. So how do you want to play this? Do you want to go trade off 4-4, 3-3?
I think
that
we should
kind of
do,
way.
I have a suspicion that our lists are probably exactly the same, as I would probably guess that the majority of anybody who's ranking these movies who's seen them all is probably exactly the same as ours. Yeah. So we could trade off and probably talk about it. So you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
This guy Poe Dameron over here. Who talks first? I talk first.
Hey.
I'll let you go first.
All right. My number 4 is the most recent Indiana Jones, and that is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, of course.
Sorry, not the one that comes out this week. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, my number 4. I mean, it's rewatching it. It's
are we? Would I be allowed a punt?
Oh yeah, you know what? You say. I'll say mine. You say yours, and then we'll just discuss it.
Okay, I was just gonna say, would I be allowed to punt?
Yeah, you can punt, I guess.
But it doesn't really. I think it'll be a pretty quick
It's only 4
punt.
movies. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we just have maybe one flip flop, which is for me. My number 4 is Temple of Doom.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I will say it is a razor thin 3 of 4. It is a razor thin 3-4.
Is Crystal Skull, and then
your 3 is Temple of Doom.
Oh, my 3 is Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Let's just talk Crystal Skull real quick, and then we'll go to Temple of Doom. For me, it's just a little too goofy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a too.
That's fair.
And I don't even. I also don't think the Russians work as well as villains.
Yes, I felt that goofy. From the first scene. Like, it didn't even need the build-up. I was just like, I don't hate these guys as much as I hate Nazis.
Right. And in no way do I do I hate this movie, which I feel like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They vehemently very much dislike Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little too goofy for me for the things I talked about, a few minutes ago. The Russians don't really do it for me as villains. I like, the return. Oh my God, I'm so bad with names. I just can't remember. Marion, I know her name.
Marion.
I love the return of Marion, obviously, and the relationship her and Indy have is great. I think that's great. When I was rewatching it this time, Mac, why does he have to be a triple agent? Why?
Yeah.
Can he just be? Why is he just a villain? Who cares? He doesn't really have any impact other than not even the beginning, really. I guess.
And it's like also like you said, why do we have to have the flip flop of it? But also it's like, it's not even like you. Because, like, if you're going to do, like, a triple agent thing or even a double agent thing, it's not very, like, entertaining to have met this character and then 8 minutes later, he turns on Indy.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I guess we can't trust this guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like then all the tension about the character is gone because you're already like, well, I can't trust him. And then when you go, oh, you can trust him, that only buys back like so much enthusiasm. You know what I mean? You can't. It's not like you're now.
Are you a triple agent?
Yeah, it's not like all of a sudden we're endeared to Mac because you're like, oh, he was just getting himself out of a bad situation. Yeah. Oh, he betrayed us again. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. It reminds me of like Ed Harris in National Treasure 2. Okay. Like it's like he's the bad guy at the beginning. And then it's like he kind of has to team up with Ben, and then at the end he's just like, I'm the villain. It's like, okay, like and how many times have we seen? Yeah, like how many times have we seen that in things? But yeah,
and the whole kind of alien thing that you lost.
Excuse me, interdimensional beings.
When they look up and they go, I think Ox says, hey, it's a portal to another dimension.
Beings.
I'm like, no, it's a spaceship. It's a UFO. It's not another dimension. I mean, I guess it technically is like, oh, they're gonna take you to a different dimension. But I'm like, no, it's just a UFO. Like, it's,
You know what blew my mind this time around, and it's just because of all the franchises I watch mashing together. I'm like, watching this movie, it feels ancient. Like, this movie feels like it is from a bygone era.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I agree with a lot of what TJ said, but I do really, really enjoy this movie, and I think, you know, all the I think the worst aspects of it really are with the Mutt Williams character. And I don't think that's entirely Shia's fault. I think that's for sure. They were like, you're playing a 50s greaser, and that's what you are. And so it's like, you know, you're doing the comb also, and all this stuff.
By the way, something I just thought out loud while I was watching this. After he gets blown up and he's saved by the lead fridge, which they clearly tell you it's a lead fridge. Like
lead line.
They show him getting it. It's lead
it was like Batman v Superman. My wheelchair is lead line.
He's talking to the FBI guys, and they're like, Mr. Jones, what were you doing with the Russians? You know, are you a communist? And I understand the whole, you know, communist kind of scare of this
the Red Scare.
But if they suspected that he was a communist, do you think they'd let him leave the country? Probably.
Yeah,
not.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, and I just didn't buy too. I was like, do they really believe that this guy is a communist? Especially when they sit down with him. I forget what the general's name is. He was like, do you know how many medals this son of a bitch has won? Like, you know, it's just like, I don't really believe. And again, it doesn't come back in any way.
Yeah, no. There's no, like, at the end of the movie, it's not like, oh, he's back in the U.S., but now they're putting him on house arrest.
Actually, you guys can't get married because we think he's a communist.
Yeah, he's actually, your husband's a war criminal. Sorry, fiance, your marriage license has been revoked. Like, you know what I mean? It's I don't know, but what I was saying, like, it feels ancient. Like, it's weird to me that I'm like, I think about the John Hurt of it, and I'm like, this is only 4 years before he played the Doctor in Doctor Who. Which is crazy that was that long ago. Yeah. And then it's only like 2 years before he came back in the later Harry Potter movies. Like that was like that year that he was like playing Ollivander. And I'm just like, those franchises feel so like eons apart. Like I feel like Crystal Skull feels like a movie that came out 20 years ago. Yeah. And it was only 15, which granted, that's not a big difference, I guess, 15 to 20 years. But I think it's just because I'm old. And this movie came out when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh my God, John Hurt is like 55 in this? Or 65? Like, and to me, it's like John Hurt was always ancient. Same with Harrison, though.
I don't know if we want to close this out, this conversation real quick, and move on to Temple. But do you have a favorite line from the movie? There's a lot of different kind of jokey, funny lines, I feel like, or you know, some compassionate ones, I guess, as well.
I don't know. I feel like honestly, I like Ike. I think that's just so stupid. Like,
I think mine probably is. You're a teacher, part time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That one's probably really good too. Yeah. Anything, but then also, like you said, there is the heartfelt stuff with moments with him and Marion, and I think that's really good. And I do think that, again, I don't know why we keep talking about this, but I guess it's a running theme in this franchise of introducing new characters every movie, of just implied history. Like, I bought the implied history with him and John Hurt. Like, I bought that. Oh, one other person I want to bring up, Jim Broadbent, as kind of the new Marcus Brody character at the college. I thought that he was really great, and I had completely forgotten about that character, and I was like, how come Jim Broadbent's not back in Dial of Destiny? He's still kicking, he's still around. Same year, by the way, that Jim Broadbent showed up as Slughorn in Harry Potter. But yeah, I mean, like, it also just feels so long ago. This is the last thing I'll touch on with Crystal Skull. Like, it also just feels so long ago because it's the same year that the MCU started. You know, it's the same year that Iron Man came out, and it's like that franchise and Indiana Jones just feel separate universes. I mean, literally and figuratively, but still. So let's move on here to Temple of Doom. Why don't you kick us off here? What are your thoughts on Temple of Doom?
Temple of Doom is, I think better than Crystal Skull. Very dark. Probably the darkest of all four, I'd say. But for me, it's just like I said, the not being sent on, sort of kind of mission as well, with missing the kind of personal relationship aspect of it. I think, unfortunately, Willie is probably the worst part of the movie. No fault of Kate Capshaw. Just the character
I think it's
awful.
She's
just
faulting.
very annoying. Just very annoying. For me, the best
She's
part of
just
the movie,
too big.
Yeah. The best part of the movie is definitely just the relationship between Indy and Short Round. The quips and how they work off each other is very funny.
The mimicking of each other,
awesome. Again, I kind of enjoy the the darkness of it a little bit, but it's and I enjoy the mythology kind of as well, with the two gods and the stones and all that, the whole, maybe not so much the whole pulling the heart out of the chest and all that stuff, but it just, I don't know, I don't connect it to it as much, but I think it's because it's missing that personal relationship and what we're kind of chasing and what we're trying to get. It's also a little it doesn't age as well, probably, as far as showing off that culture and what their lifestyle is
the
like.
problematic stuff only continues to be more problematic, I would say.
Right, yeah.
I think so. First of all, obviously I feel like with this movie, and I feel like I don't want to say that's not fair to this movie, because you don't really have the problem with the other two movies. But this one is definitely, looking at it now amongst the four, and then obviously amongst the five, this one being, newest one being made in 2023. It just has a lot of stuff that is just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse with age.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of stuff. And I feel like you got to kind of talk about that with this movie, but, it's a deeper conversation that I feel like you could spend more time on, and people have spent more time on it, but, there's definitely that aspect of it. But as you said, I think easily the best part of the movie is his relationship with Short Round. Easily. I mean, also because, genuinely, he doesn't even have a relationship with Willie Scott. He literally meets her in the opening scene of the movie. And that kind of wants me to lead into my other main point about Temple of Doom. I think, obviously, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I think everything with Lao Che in the beginning of the movie and everything in Shanghai and all that stuff, maybe even if that was just the movie and you did like a really early, like just totally set in China, or maybe set it over there where like maybe you're going from Shanghai to like Tokyo, and kind of to have this, again, not that those representations would have been that much better either, because I think that somebody like Lao Che, who obviously is the like gangster that he's dealing with at the beginning of the movie, I forget that actor's name off the top of my head, but Lao Che himself feels like a very fleshed out, realistic character in this universe. Okay, yeah. I think that Lao Che himself feels like a very fleshed out, realistic character for this Indiana Jones universe. But then I think you go immediately to his right or left, and his like body men are just these over the top like caricatures of Asian people, and particularly like an Asian, mobster, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know if that's a stereotype, but like, they just feel very stereotypical of, the poor, impression of that kind of culture and those kind of people of that time. But that being said, I thought that, to me, yes, the rest of the movie is fun and action-packed, and of course the minecart scene is like, holy shit, of like technicality, incredible for the time. I mean, it's the most technically impressive thing in that movie for sure. But also, to me, honestly, sometimes when I watch that movie, and including the other day when I watched it, I feel like the movie kind of peaks in the first 10 minutes. Like I mean,
I'd agree with that.
And especially if you did not have Short Round in this movie, and I feel like it's fair to say that I think for many years, obviously, people took for granted really how good Ke Huy Quan is in this movie, because holy shit, that guy is like 8 years old, and he is like dynamite on screen when he's patting the elephant and he's like, "You're my best friend. You're my best friend." I was like, oh my God. I was like, I fucking love him so much. Like, he's just patting this elephant going, I'm going to take you home. You're my best friend now. Like, and it's also like sad that like his parents died and Indy like took him in, and then we just never ever see him again. Like, that's why I really hope not only for the Ke Huy Quan aspect of it, but for the character aspect, I think that Short Round is a worthy character to revisit at some point in the future. I think he really is, because there's a lot of groundwork put in there. And I think it's just so surprising that in a movie that's honestly as problematic as Temple of Doom is, the fact that the small 8-year-old Chinese boy is like one of the most thoughtful and like endearing characters in the movie, while also, you know, saying like very I don't know, how would you describe the way that Short Round speaks? Very like stereotypical phrases, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, and that's stuff that again is not going to age well. But I think the fact that he is so good in that role, and the fact that he has such natural chemistry with Harrison Ford, who I probably think we have not talked about enough at this point.
Oh no.
But Harrison Ford is also in these movies pretty good. I just think, like you let off with, their natural chemistry is just what makes the movie. If he wasn't in it, or if the person they got to play Short Round was not as endearing to Indy, I honestly, this would be an even further bottom of the list. But honestly, I do enjoy Crystal Skull more than this one at this point. But again, like I said, peaked in the first 10 minutes. I love James Bond, Indiana Jones. Oh my God, I could watch 6 movies of this, of the white suit and just Harrison Ford going in and just staring down this mobster with like no pressure at all, like the just classic Indiana Jones. Just as much as I love the archaeology, you know, leather, you know, with the whip and everything. But really, really good stuff. And then obviously the darkness at the end and the kind of horror-y aspects, the birth of the PG-13 rating came from this movie. So, you know, there's still a lot to love there.
Just last thing I'll say real quick. I just wasn't also a fan of the whole kind of, I don't take him as a character that would become, and I get it was kind of forced on him, literally. But I was not a fan of the whole kind of becoming possessed type thing. I just felt like that did not work for Indiana. And again, I think it kind of goes back to the, you know, we're chasing the Ark, we're chasing the Holy Grail, you know, and this is like we're chasing these stones that, you know, and then
are magic
blood that will possess you and make you like, I don't know. It did none of that really comes together for me.
Yeah. I think it's hard too because sorry, I just thought thought. I think it's hard too. I think another thing that Temple, it's just harder to sink your teeth into it because it's like the Lost Ark. Everybody knows the story of Moses. Well, not everybody, but most people know the story of Moses, or at least the story of
they tell you.
Exactly, or at least the story of the 10 Commandments. And I think exposition-wise, that scene where him and Marcus are just rattling off all this info about the Ark is masterfully done to make you understand it. Number 3, Jesus, what is I almost said the Chalice of Life. That is not what it's called. The Holy Grail. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my God, it's like the Chalice of Life. The Holy Grail. Everybody is familiar with that concept. They made a Pirates of the Caribbean movie about it. Number 4, aliens. Everybody knows what that is. Temple of Doom is like one line of Indy being like, it's important to the village. And the water dried up. So we got to bring it back. Like that. Like that's basically the like investment that you have in the MacGuffin of the movie. Whereas I think all 3 of the other ones much stronger in that predicament. And also the item is usually also tied to somebody important to Indies too. So whereas in this movie, Short Round, him and Willie literally, like you said, just get forced into this just by where their plane lands or crashes. But yeah, moving on. I think now I could say probably I think our lists probably match up. And that is my number 2 at least is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I'm with you.
There you go. Boom. Might get some flack for that by some diehards, but
I think they are, and I think this is probably the case for a lot of people. I think they're pretty interchangeable. Probably just depending on your connection to either one.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, our 2s are Raiders. Our 1 is Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Raiders first, I guess.
And to me too, I just want to make this clear. As I said that 3 and 4 were close, I think I'm looking at 3 and 4 and then 1 and 2. Like big gap between 3 and 2 for me.
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, so I don't know if the people that are like, well, it's the original trilogy and then 4. Yeah. It's like at this point in my life, I just don't agree with that. And I will say there was a time where I was like, where I grew up and I was like, oh,
people say 4 doesn't even exist. Say,
I know. Oh my god. I texted you that one night. I did the SpongeBob letters of like the uppercase, lowercase, and I was just like, how many people that were like, a Dial of Destiny is the true 4th film. It's like, oh my god, like Jesus. Did we not just go through this with the prequels, like literally?
Yeah.
And now again with the sequels? But it's okay. George is buying the company back, so we're going to be fine. No, but let's talk Raiders. So I think, obviously, understatement of the millennia, fantastic movie. I think it's everything that Temple of Doom does right, plus some. I think you have the heart with Marion. And I'm sorry, let's take the time to start talking a little bit about this Harrison Ford guy here, because I think we're really going to talk about him with our number 1. But he is so good in Raiders, and Karen fucking Allen as Marion Ravenwood is incredible in this movie. I mean, she takes you talk about Princess Leia. I was thinking the other day, I was like, people go, oh, nobody could have played Princess Leia other than Carrie Fisher. I think Karen Allen could have. I think Karen Allen would have made a great Princess Leia. If Carrie wasn't available or didn't want to go into the family business, I think Karen Allen would have been a fantastic Princess Leia, because she is just, and not just for the stereotypical, like, Leia and Marion are both, like, not going to wait around to be saved by other people. But the way that she's mowing down Nazis with machine guns, she's stabbing people, she's whacking people with a frying pan. She is not going to get blown up in a basket. She is not going to let that happen to herself. She's fighting the monkey. Another person I want to talk about too, Sala, John Rhys Davies, fantastic in this, and then we'll also talk about him in Last Crusade. But I think Sala is a fantastic supporting character. Again, the implied history of Indy, and you're just like, oh, these guys are old friends.
Right.
And I think you just buy it instantly. Marcus, don't want to leave Marcus out. Marcus Brody, really, really good in this one. But yeah, I mean, I just think that it's just a classic adventure where, you get the beginning, the middle, and the end of, you get a little bit of the kind of professor life. And then, like you said, this quest is kind of optioned to him. And he's got to think about it, and then he decides to do it. And then he has to wait to hear if the government will approve for him to go do it. And there's that fantastic scene with him and Marcus, where Marcus gives that amazing monologue of the, this is different. This is ancient history. This is God. This, it's like nothing you've ever gone after before. Like, and that line of like, it's like nothing you've gone after before. It takes on so many more meanings, because it's like, yes, it's more dangerous than anything, but also like there's kind of just this looming threat in the movie of like, what if God really is in this thing? And then obviously at the end we get the answer, which is that what type of universe these movies are set in, which is God will murder some Nazis. God will strike lightning through the chest of men in these movies. And we definitely see that. But then also all the stuff with Belloc. And Belloc is just this really incredible character that I know I talked about a little bit last week because I had already watched Raiders. I just really appreciated Belloc more, and I think gave him a little more slack as a character this time around. But yeah, obviously I really love this one a lot more than the other two. So like I just feel like we're both gonna have more to say about this. But what are your overall thoughts?
Something I agree with you on everything, and something I think that Raiders and Crusade do very well, definitely better than Temple and Crystal Skull, is they're very good at peeling back the mystery, where we're solving these kind of puzzles and stuff, and it just really, it all works together.
Yeah.
Agree with you. Karen Allen is Marion is awesome. She takes no shit from anybody. That bar scene I thought was really cool.
I'm your goddamn partner.
Yeah, those fight scenes, all that stuff was great. Nazis aren't great, but the characters of the Nazis are just great villains in this movie.
Like Tote, what's his name? The guy with the black leather jacket. Yeah.
Right. And I think we have Dietrich as well.
Yeah.
Who's also scary. And I same with Belloc. He's kind of he's kind of more interested. He's using the Nazis as kind of like a means to get to the Ark. He's not necessarily a Nazi, but he's just kind of tagging along to get to the Ark. Yeah. And again, we haven't really talked about Harrison Ford at all, but he's obviously amazing. The fight sequences in this movie are awesome. The one with the really big Nazi with the plane when he gets like shredded, and that
Pat
was all,
Roach is his name.
That was all awesome. Yeah, I was listening to I listened to the Cinephiles episodes on
Raiders,
and I was listening to Crusade, and I forget which one of them said that like Harrison Ford is very, very good at like getting his ass beat, and he really is, because he really like sells those kicks, punches, elbows, everything. And I mean, the sound effects that they use, they always make it 10 times better.
One of the things I wrote down here, one of my favorite moments in Raiders is when Marion's in the plane with the guy there, and she's like trying to knock out the pilot, who, by the way, I didn't know the pilot, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy's husband, the producer of a bunch of those movies and Jurassic Park and everything. I had no idea that was him, so that was cool. But when Indy's like kind of scrapping up the plane to get there, and then he sees Pat Roach, the big guy, and he just goes, all right, okay. He's just like, all right, like all right, I get it. You're not gonna let me go until we fight, so let's just get it over with. Like, it's just like, and he climbs off of the plane really slowly. Like, I just love that he's such an effective like everyman. And I know like people always say like that's what you want in a character, obviously, but he's just so effective at that. And then I just think that the story is just so like concrete in this movie. Like, there's not like a wasted beat. There's not bad dates, like, and then you look and it's like the monkey's dead, and you're like, oh my god. Like, there's just like everything comes back, everything matters. There's just like crowd cheering moments, like when he shoots the guy. Obviously, that's like a famous scene. And then the opening too is like so iconic with the golden idol and Alfred Molina.
I didn't know that was him until I was rewatching it, and I go, is it Alfred Molina?
Yeah, it's first movie ever. All 3 minutes of it. Should have trusted him. Should have just gotten out with Indy. But yeah, and then too, again, I know we've already talked about it, but I really appreciated Renee Belloc in this rewatch. Trying to think. Yeah, and like the submarine stuff, like Captain like Katanga with like the shipping boat that they go on, and it's just like just some of those moments, like when the Nazis leave back on the submarine, and he's like, Jones has got to be on this ship. We got to find him. And he goes, I found him, Captain. And he goes, where? There. And he says, he's on, dun, 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 like, he's just on the side of the submarine. Like, it's just so, like, yeah.
Goes,
like, it's, yeah, exactly. And he waves his hat, and they're like, yeah, go. Like, it's just, like, these, like, obviously you're not watching it in a crowd, but, like, you just know it's these, like, cheer moments. You know, it's almost it's as good as the Flash enters the Speed Force. You know, that would be my Oscar fan moment of 1981. Also, I feel like it's just, as much as we, you know, said that Temple of Doom is, like, maybe not our favorite, but just that run that Harrison Ford went on from Star Wars to Empire to Raiders to Blade Runner to Jedi to Temple of Doom, just boom, boom, boom. Like, oh my God, it's crazy. But anything else on Raiders of the Lost Ark before we move on to our number one?
No, I think that's it. Next, number one for both of us, Last Crusade.
Absolutely.
I'll just say, I mean,
Junior.
the relationship that Sean Connery and Harrison Ford have on screen together, playing father-son, is just, I think, unmatched by any relationship for me in any of the other movies. The way they play off each other, the quips, the you know, the emotional scenes, like, all that stuff just really works with you know, obviously the search for the Holy Grail, and you know, Indy always looking for its father's approval, and you know, Indy feeling that he was kind of second to the Holy Grail and blaming, you know, that kind of for what happened with his mom, and all that stuff is just, it all works so well together. And again, we have the Nazis back. I think the Nazis are just kind of they should just be the villains, and I think that, again, that's why they're bringing them back for Dial of Destiny.
Exactly.
Those are the villains that work best for Indiana Jones. So it just all works so well together. And all the action is great. Obviously, we have that bike scene, which I believe was, if I'm incorrect in saying, or if I'm correct in saying, that it was like kind of they had to go back because they didn't think there was enough action. So then they wrote this kind of whole
I think so. Yeah.
Scene. Just quick, one of my favorite lines is or one of my favorite moments in the movie is when they're on the blimp, and you know, Indy's dressed as like the pilot or Nazi officer or whatever, and he throws the Nazi officer over, and everybody looks. He goes, "No ticket," and then everybody ticket. Like, it's so funny.
My God.
Or the classic line that I always love to bring up is when they have they're in the castle, and he breaks in the window, and they're threatening to shoot what's her name again? We didn't even
Ilsa.
Ilsa, when they're threatening to kill Ilsa, and they're like, "We'll shoot her," and Sean Connery goes, "Go ahead."
Yeah.
That's the funniest delivery ever. But yeah, everything just works so well in this movie for me. And even again, just like we don't get much of him, but like the knight in keeping guard of the Holy Grail, and you know, when oh my God, the villain. What's the villain's name?
Donovan.
When Donovan drinks it, and he basically disintegrates. He goes, "He chose poorly."
Yeah, and I love again.
It all works so well.
It's just reiterating like this universe, like,
yeah,
God is in a box, and you could rip somebody's heart out of their chest, and also there's an 800-year-old man in a cave in the desert guarding a cup.
Right.
Like, it's just like there's. Oh, and by the way, aliens exist. And by the way, another 15 years later, time travel ? I guess we'll see. But yeah, Last Crusade. I mean, like, to me, it is like, I don't know. To me, at least, 1 and 2 are boom. Like, to me, Last Crusade. When I think about Indiana Jones, I think about Last Crusade. When I go, oh, I want to watch Indiana Jones, I put on Last Crusade. I don't put on Raiders. Like, I mean, I will put on Raiders. Like, I love that movie. But when I think about this franchise, when I think about this character, I think about this movie, and I think it's a great time to bring up Harrison Ford. who plays Indiana Jones in these movies, and just the chemistry that he has with Sean Connery. And I do agree. I think, if you're talking top trio of companions, it's Marion, his father, and Short Round, like easily. And I think that his father is probably the top of that list. Just everything. I mean, Henry Jones Sr. as a character, I don't know why. It has just always, I don't know if it was like, my own grandfather when I was a kid, like he would like mess with me, not like mess with, like he would just be like, I'd be like running through the house and he would just be like, stop it. But then like now I know that, and like my mother has told me and stuff, like he's just like basically just like humoring himself. And it's just like, and so like I was always like a little scared of my grandfather, but I don't know why. I feel like I just like feel that like universal feeling in Henry Jones Sr. Like just, he's like such an old like curmudgeon, right, but he's also just like so like the opening scene when Indy is young, which again we could talk about because the opening, I think it's the best opening of any of the movies as well, with the River Phoenix appearance as young Indiana Jones. But like when he comes home and his dad's like yelling at him, like you kind of get in your mind, you're like, oh, when we meet him later, is he gonna be like a hard ass? Like, is he gonna be like really like stern and like casting Sean Connery? You're like, maybe he is gonna be like very stern for the whole movie. And then the first time you meet him, Indy busts through the window and he bashes him on the head with a vase. And he goes, I thought you were one of them. And he goes, they come in through the door. Like, I just love that. And he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. This is Ming Dynasty. Like, it's just, he just is so like, it's not that he hates his son. No, he loves his son. It's just like his priorities are so.
He loves his work.
Exactly. And then also, I think that brings me to like, you asked me about, I know last time we kind of touched in on specific lines was Crystal Skull, but there's so many lines in this movie that are just like in my bones. Just like, whether it's serious ones like the penitent man shall pass, like, but in Hebrew, Jehovah starts with an I. Like, there's just so, like, Junior, we named the dog Indiana. Like, there's just so many that I quote either to myself or to others or just out loud on a daily basis. Like, I genuinely think that Henry Jones Sr. is like one of my top favorite characters in fiction. Like, I just, I cannot get enough watching that guy on screen. Like, and then his interaction, I'm just as good as the next man. I was the next man. Yeah. Like, she talks in her sleep. Like, what?
They just did such a good job of writing those two characters,
and there's only like 10 years difference between the two of them.
And just the way that Sean Connery and Harrison Ford deliver those lines back and forth, it's
like perfect rhythm.
Yes.
And then, because I'm ready to hurt again, one of the most emotional scenes in a movie that I've ever seen in my life is him holding Ilsa and her saying, I can reach it. And then literally her falling through his hands to her death. And then he falls, his dad catches him, and it's immediately the exact same position that Indy was just in. And Indy is going, I can reach it. And just let it go. Indiana?
Yeah.
Let it go. And it's just like, oh my God, like the emotion that pulls up. And it's right after, obviously, he's healed by the cup and everything. And then also, like when they think that he dies in the tank. He goes, I never even got to talk to him. All I would have needed was 5 minutes. Like, it's so sad. It's like, and then also the kind of illusion that like his dad has been missing him. It is the like, you left just as you were getting interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's like, I wanted you to be around once you got old enough to be interested in the stuff that I'm interested in, but that's exactly when you left me. So I just love everything, the dynamic, and then of course, there are other people in this movie, like Julian Glover as Donovan. That is where I think you see the double cross coming, but unlike Mac, you know, they save it a little bit. And it's, of course, the classic, you know, Dr. Jones, don't trust anyone. I did tell you not to trust anyone, didn't I? Yeah. You know, it's like that classic, but whatever. But also, Sala being back in this one, fantastic. I do miss Marion. I wish that they would have been a better habit of bringing her back, or at least bringing her back up. And then another thing that I wanted to just touch on briefly, that does bother me about the overall franchise, and then you can finish up whatever you want to talk about with this. The years, rewatching them all back to back to back, just don't sit right with me. Like, so the first movie is set in 1936. Raiders is set in 1936. Temple of Doom is set in 1935.
Technically a prequel.
Yeah, and then Last Crusade is set in 1938. So literally all of these movies take place over the course of like 3 years at most. And it's like, they should have it's such a minor thing, but I'm just like, it should have been like 1936, 1929, and like 1941 or something. You know what I mean? Like, it always felt weird to me. And it's not even about Harrison Ford's age, because obviously Temple of Doom is a prequel. It's just like, I just wish that they could have covered more of like the war, if that makes sense. Like, it just feels weird to me that like the timeline feels so compressed.
Well, again, too, I think they would have covered more of it if Temple of Doom had to do with the Nazis.
Yes, that is very true.
That break from what their bread and butter really was, in going into a different culture and everything. But no, I echo everything you said. You know, I really love this movie. When I go back and, you know, when I'm feeling an Indiana Jones movie, this is usually the one I'm looking to watch again.
Yeah.
Just for everything, how it, you know, how it makes me feel. It makes me feel very, very happy to watch at that time, and just, you know, I guess glad to be a fan of this franchise. And something just quick that you brought up too about like when he said, "Oh, you know, you left when you were becoming interesting." I think it was like almost an unintentional, like, I don't know if this is the right word, but like alienation of his son, where it's like,
yeah,
I want you to be old enough to enjoy the things with me that I know you'll enjoy.
Yeah.
But in doing so, he didn't make enough time for him when he was younger.
Yeah.
So in that case, he kind of, you know, he pushed him away unintentionally, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because saying just as you were becoming interesting is just a different way of saying for the first 18 years of your life, you were uninteresting. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's basically he's saying the same thing there. But yeah, I think, and again, it's just, I don't know why we keep coming back to this implied history, but it's like, to me, the implied history works with no one better than his father. And to be fair, we do see a little bit of their actual history with the flashback with Sean Connery's voice. I mean, we don't see him in the flashback, but yeah, I mean, I just think it's fantastic. I mean, Last Crusade is just so good.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say real quick. Can you quote his Charlemagne?
Let my soldiers be the rocks and the sticks in the stream and the birds in the sky. There you go. I've just suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Just, oh my God, he is so good in this. All right, last up here, before we close out for the entire show, we got 6 minutes. We got 6 minutes to rapid fire.
Oh jeez.
Rank these Indiana Jones characters. Let's go, Marcus Brody. Where are we at? S tier. Easily S tier. Oh my God. Last Crusade. The Marcus monologue. Marcus Brody has more culture than you could have in your finger. He speaks 100 languages. He can blend in with any culture. He can disappear with any luck. He's got a 2-day head start. With any luck, he'll have the Grail already. Smash cut. Excuse me. Hello? Does anyone speak English here? Hello? Like, so fantastic. All right. What's his name?
That's like a C. I don't know what his deal was in Temple. Yeah, he got beat pretty easily too.
Absolutely. Donovan. Where are we putting Donovan? A. Yeah, I think a really good villain. Where are we putting what's her face?
D.
Governor Price from Rebels. Tote.
A.
I agree. Very good. Oh no, he's like, he puts his hand up. It's okay. We have someone who specializes in that. Ilsa.
I'll go B.
B. All right. What's his name? This guy.
He'd probably be a B.
Yeah.
I think of the other guy more. I think of that.
Kali Ma guy.
C.
Yeah. Willie Scott.
D.
Where? D? Yeah.
D. Easy D.
Yeah. Great song at the beginning, though. That is one, again, the James...
of
Anything Goes. Yes. Very good. Let's see here. What's his name? Russian guy.
I'll go...
Vladimir Putin. Where's he at?
I like it. I kind of like his death.
Yeah, I kind of like his death.
I'll go C.
Okay, I'll go the front of C.
I kind of like I don't know.
What's his name? No Ticket.
That guy might be...
I would say A. He's got some great moments because he's got the tank. He comes back a lot in that movie. 800-year-old Knight. Where are we putting him?
I'll say B. We don't get a lot
B?
of him, but when he's on screen, he's great.
Yeah. All right. Man, we're just left with some heavy hitters here.
These are almost all S's except for Shia, I think.
Sala.
Sala's S.
S for sure. Short Round.
S.
Absolutely. Marion.
S.
Gotta be. Belloc.
A.
I'll say that Belloc is like, he's the borderline of A to S.
Yeah.
Let me get there we go.
There you go.
Mutt Williams / Mutt Jones.
I'll go C. He's not like a D.
Yeah, I'll go C. I'll put him there.
But yeah.
He's definitely better than these 5.
Yeah.
Henry Jones.
S.
Henry Jones.
S.
Easily. I'm gonna put him in front. I'm gonna put Henry Jones Sr. in front. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are our thoughts on Indiana Jones, ranking the movies, ranking the characters, having a nice big old hour-long discussion about it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And thank you guys so much for joining us for this overall live stream. Really appreciate it. Check out on the channel right now. I have my first half of season 2 of the Bear review up right now. I got my Asteroid City review up. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Challengers trailer reaction that we posted. I posted that a couple days late, and I really was just expecting nothing out of that, and it got almost 600 views. So I really, really appreciate that. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. Next week, definitely going to be talking some Secret Invasion. Definitely going to be talking some Dial of Destiny. Spoiler review. So that'll do it for me, guys. I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you thought about any of the topics below in the comments. Please follow, like, subscribe, all our social medias as well as this channel. And we will see you next time.
Boom.